Have you ever wondered, why are you still stuck in your own life even though you want to change? You watch inspirational videos, you write down your goals, you promise yourself, this time it will be different. But a few weeks later, everything is back to normal. It's not because you don't want to change. It's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're being pulled back by something invisible but incredibly powerful, the old habit system that's working in the background. Most people think they're unmotivated. In reality, they're stuck in a loop of their own. They wake up with the same thoughts, repeat the same behaviors, and then wonder why things aren't changing. But you're not them. If you're here, it means there's a part of you that's awake, a part that's tired of the same old routine, a part that wants to live differently. The good news is, you don't have to turn your life upside down to start changing. You just have to look back and ask, what am I repeating every day? Because it's those little things repeated every day that are silently reshaping who you become. You are what you repeat. You are not a moment in time. You are not a product of a moment in time. You are a product of everything you do every day, whether you notice it or not. You may think that your life is a result of circumstances, your job, your family, your past, but deep down, it is a result of the small choices you make over and over again when no one is watching. You surf the internet when you are bored. You are programming yourself to avoid it instead of facing it. You promise yourself you will wake up early, but you turn off your alarm every morning. You are programming yourself to be untrustworthy. You procrastinate because you don't feel inspired. You are training yourself to wait for the perfect conditions. Imagine you are painting a picture. Every small action you do every day is a brush stroke. You paint once. No big deal. You draw 10 times. You start to see the shape. You draw 100 times. The shape is clear. You draw 1,000 times, and that is your portrait. No one else needs to draw you to become who you are. You, with your habits, are sculpting yourself. So if you feel stuck, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're mastering an old version of yourself. The good news is, your brain doesn't discriminate between good and bad habits. It only registers what you repeat. If you've been repeatedly procrastinating, worrying, doubting, you can absolutely repeat the actions, thoughts, and attitudes of a different version, a version of yourself that you choose. This isn't motivation. This is neuroscience plus self-discipline, and you're about to learn how to use it. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I keep making the same mistakes? Why do I know what's good, but I don't do it? Have you ever come to a painful conclusion? I must be the undisciplined type. I'm not born as good as other people. Or worse, I must be broken. But listen, you're not broken. You're not born lazy. You're not born undisciplined. You're just really good at one thing, training the wrong version of yourself. Imagine this. Every day you repeat negative behaviors, procrastination, avoidance, self-blame. You're unwittingly training the weakest version of yourself. The more you repeat them, the stronger they get. They become your default. They become me. You don't realize it, but you're training your brain. And your brain is incredibly loyal. Whatever you give it every day, it will remember as truth. It doesn't judge. It doesn't say, hey, you're doing it wrong. It just says, oh, you do this every day? Well, this is you. I'll help you automate it. The result? You become a mindless procrastinator, a natural self-doubter, a quitter who's used to not finishing. You don't realize you're becoming what you repeat. It's not because your willpower is weak, it's because your training system is off target. But here's the good news. If you can practice the wrong version, you can practice the right version. And the magic is, you don't have to change everything at once. You just need to pick one small behavior and repeat it with intention. It'll be awkward at first. It's like practicing writing with your non-dominant hand. Strange, awkward, frustrating. But if you keep at it, keep repeating, The non-dominant becomes natural. Every strong version of you that you admire, they weren't born that way. They've repeated mistakes, doubts, and avoidances. But one day they decided, I'm going to start practicing the version of me that I want to be. They practice acting when they're afraid. They practice keeping their word to themselves. They practice showing up when they're not in the mood. And they repeat. Repeat long enough, deep enough for the new version to become the original. So, the next time you find yourself slipping, don't ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Instead ask, which version am I practicing right now? And which version am I willing to start practicing again today? Have you ever asked yourself, when will I truly become a better version of myself? When I have enough motivation? When I feel motivated? Or when everything outside is going well? Wrong. Identity, the self you want to become, does not wait for inspiration. It does not appear after shouting, I will change. It is forged, step by step, in silence, through seemingly small actions. The truth is, inspiration is very deceptive. Today you are full of energy. You are ready to do anything. But tomorrow, when you are tired, when your emotions are down, you give up. If you wait for inspiration to act, you are also waiting for failure. Identity is not born from the moments when you are inspired. Identity is born from the moments when you are still doing things, even when you are not inspired. You do not need to feel confident to start. You act, and the belief follows. You don't have to wait for the feeling of being ready. You make the decision, and the readiness is honed with each execution. Action creates evidence, and it is the evidence that defines who you are. For example, do you want to be disciplined? No need to declare it to the world. Just wake up 15 minutes earlier every morning, over and over again. Do you want to be courageous? No need to wait for the big opportunity. Just dare to step into situations that scare you, a little bit each day. Identity is not something you wish. Identity is something you manifest through the behaviors you choose to repeat. Every time you choose to do something difficult, your brain records, this person is persistent. Every time you keep your word to yourself, even if no one else knows, your brain records, this person is trustworthy. Every time you overcome a small temptation, even if no one applauds, your brain registers, this person has standards. And so you train your brain to believe that you are that powerful version of yourself, not through inspiration, but through consistent, non-negotiable, ritualistic action. Don't get me wrong. Inspiration is great. It's the fuel that gets you going. But action is the engine that really moves you forward. Inspiration comes and goes, but action leaves a mark. And that mark is the identity you're building every day. So don't ask, am I motivated today? Ask, do I want to train myself to be the person I respect today? Because in the end, you don't become who you say you are. You become who you repeat. You may think you control your life with your will. You think you choose every action, every decision, every reaction. But in fact, most of what you do during the day doesn't come from a conscious decision. It comes from habit, from the hidden programming that you have installed in yourself for a long time. Habits are like a line of code that runs silently in the background. You don't see it, you don't think about it, but it controls you. From how you react to rejection, to whether or not you hesitate when the alarm goes off. It's all a product of things you've repeated too many times. And the thing is, the brain doesn't distinguish between right and wrong, positive and negative. It just takes you repeating something long enough, and it will stamp that behavior into its automatic operating system. If every time you're stressed, you open TikTok to escape, it remembers. Stress equals instant entertainment. If every morning you press sleep more 3 times, it remembers. Morning equals default procrastination. On the other hand, if every time you're tired you still go to the gym, it remembers. No inspiration needed, still doing important work. Habits don't just shape actions. They shape identity. Every time you act, you're casting a vote for who you want to be. And you don't need to be 100% perfect. You just need a majority of votes to favor the version of yourself you want to be. You want to be strong? So let 60%, 70% of your daily actions affirm that. You want to be self-controlled? Practice it in small moments. When you choose not to mindlessly scroll through social media, when you choose to work for an extra 15 minutes instead of closing your laptop because you're out of it. Habits are what redraw your cognitive map. And that map determines what you see as normal and what is extraordinary. For people with disciplined habits, waking up early, reading, exercising is normal. For people without those habits, it's an extraordinary effort that requires too much motivation. And you see, the difference isn't in ability, it's in who has repeated what more. The danger is you can't stop. You're either building or reinforcing old habits every day. You're not standing still. You're either upgrading or repeating yourself. So the question is no longer, do I have a habit? But rather, what am I repeating? And where is it taking me? Here's a mistake that many people make. They wait for inspiration to act. They wait until they feel inspired to start exercising. They wait until they feel ready to start making changes. They wait until they feel confident enough to start speaking up. But you know what? If you have to wait for positive emotions to start, you will forever be a slave to your emotions. The truth is, emotions are not signals for you to act. Emotions are something you have to overcome. Emotions change constantly. Today you are full of energy. Tomorrow you feel lazy. This morning you feel excited. This afternoon you feel aimless. If you rely on emotions to decide whether to do something or not, your life will drift with the wind. Successful people are not people who are always motivated. They are people who have stopped depending on emotions a long time ago. They understand a simple but crucial point. I don't do things because I feel like it. I do things because it's the right thing to do. That's not inspiration. That's discipline. Discipline is the ability to do the right thing, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is when you get up to work out when you're tired. It's when you type one more paragraph when your mind is in chaos. It's when you turn off YouTube, put away your phone, and get back to the important work, only because you're committed. No one sees, no one applauds, but you know. And that's what makes the difference. You don't practice discipline in theory. You practice it in the moments when you choose to do the hard thing instead of the easy thing. When you choose to go to bed on time instead of watching one more episode. When you choose to cook instead of ordering takeout. When you open a book instead of checking social media. Each of those choices is like a dumbbell press for the discipline muscle. It's not spectacular, but it's cumulative. And the great thing is, discipline is a skill that can be learned. It's not inborn. It's not reserved for good people. It's reserved for people who are willing to practice over and over every day. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be repeated even when you don't feel like it. And then, one day, you'll realize you don't need inspiration anymore. Because you've built a foundation inside a version of yourself you can trust. Not because you feel ready, but because you've trained yourself to be ready. We often think that to change our lives, we need a turning point. A big decision, an explosive action, a personal revolution. But the truth is the opposite. Life doesn't change in one big moment. It changes in small things over and over again. Want to change your body? Not with a week of strict dieting, but with 30 days of eating right? Want to become disciplined? Not with one super productive day, but with what you do every morning when you wake up. Each small action is like A drop of water. One drop doesn't make a difference. But 1,000 drops? It can drill through rock. The problem is, we underestimate the power of small things because they don't produce immediate results. Exercise one day, no muscle. Read one page of a book, no wisdom. Write a paragraph, not a work. And so we give up because we think it probably won't work. But that's the trap. The trap of wanting to see it now, wanting quick results, wanting instant success. Do you know how long it takes for a bamboo shoot to sprout above ground? 5 years. In the first 5 years, you won't see anything. But in the 6th year, it can grow 20 meters in 6 weeks. Not because those 6 weeks are magical, but because the previous 5 years have been quietly building the foundation underground. You are the same. You don't have to explode. You just have to quietly build, little by little, every right action. Repeat. Repeat until it becomes a habit. Repeat until the outcome is no longer a question of if, but when. You see someone who is good at something? They weren't born good at it. They've just done it more than you think. You see someone who is calm and confident? It's not because they haven't been nervous. It's because they've learned a different version of themselves through countless failures. And the thing to remember is, you don't have to explode. You have to be consistent. One small change, if it's the right one, repeated long enough, will change your entire life. Don't underestimate what you do every day, because it's who you are. You don't become someone overnight. You become someone every day. We've been on a long journey together, from understanding why we're stuck, to realizing that identity isn't something you find, it's something you forge every day through action, through habit, through choice. And now, you're at a crossroads. Not a crossroads out there, but a crossroads in your own mind. One is to continue as before, living by inertia, procrastinating, waiting, thinking tomorrow I'll really start. The other is to choose yourself. Choose action, choose repetition, choose to raise the bar and not back down. No need to wait for a new year. No need to wait for inspiration. No need to wait for approval or encouragement. You can start again. Today, right now, by keeping a small promise to yourself, by standing up instead of postponing, by stopping waiting for perfection to do it. Because life doesn't change with one big push. It changes when you decide, I am no longer the person I used to be. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just prove to yourself that you can start and you can keep going until the new me is no longer a goal, but a reality. And if there's one thing you can take away from this video, it's this. Every day is a vote. Who are you voting for? Is it the old version or the better version waiting to be chosen? The choice is yours, and it always starts today.